Welcome to Sharika Talks, Unraveling the Truth, a journalist's quest. Subscribe for the truth.
Chapter 30, The Inner Voice. So, Sharika, can you please explain how you found this place? Sharika had been thinking about whether the man who planned the Amritsar attack could be Sachin. Adam's question caught her completely off guard. She had never expected they knew her real name. She looked from Adam's calm, expectant face to Rakhi's, which held a faint, knowing smile. How? She began. Oh, we know all about your team, Rakhi replied, his voice smooth as silk. Perhaps better than you know yourselves. But I liked your alias better, Rishika. He tested the name. It has a certain clarity, and it's much easier for me to pronounce. So, Rishika, please answer the question. Sharika's mind raced for a believable lie, but Riaz, ever the professional, stepped in. His voice was a steady counterpoint to the tension. She has a friend who tracked this location using satellite imaging. He hacked into a private, low-Earth, high-resolution satellite, used an AI to cross-analyze the terrain for anomalies, and found your helipad. Sharika admired Riaz. He must have made it up ever since they were captured to protect her. Adam, who recalled a recent news report about a hacker breaching a private satellite, seemed to believe the reply. We will have to cover our facilities more effectively then, I think, Rakhi suggested to Adam, who nodded in agreement. Shall we move to a more comfortable building? It's already twilight. You don't know how cold it gets here in the mountains. As they started walking towards the largest building with Adam in the lead, 1,000 questions stormed Sharika's mind. That was our briefing platform. Adam explained to Riaz and Sharika, gesturing to the open space they were leaving. This is our armory. There is our hospital, and there is a school past that big tree. More than 1,000 people live here, most with their families. He spoke as if he were giving a school tour. The pathways were paved with a mosaic of stone and soft grass, every building covered in greenery. Sharika remembered an article she had read 2 years ago about deep enterprises using genetically engineered bamboo to grow buildings. She realized she was seeing exactly that in front of her. She thought about the immense amounts of money needed to run such a small city. Her mind was rushing to find conclusions. So, who was it really? Sharika asked Rakhi, catching up to his long strides. The man behind the terrorist attack in Amritsar? An old friend of your Sheila Madam's, actually, Rakhi explained with a smile. It was I who forged him into a sword, thinking I could fight evil with evil. I didn't know he would become such a menace with all his religious fanaticism and talk of jihad. She went silent, deep in thought. They were walking towards the largest building in the middle near the deodar tree. It had towering walls, all made of bamboo and other living plants fully covered with green moss. Adam opened the door, which was in fact a rectangularly carved portion of the mass. As they entered the main building, they were welcomed into a vast hall which looked like a small indoor stadium spanning almost 50 meters in length. It rivaled the Durbar Hall of the Travancore Palace, which Sharika had visited a few months ago to interview Prince Suryavarma. Carved wooden pillars rose to a high, vaulted ceiling, and the air was warm and smelled of cedar. There were several warm lights that made the entire hall fully lit. There were electric heaters and places to light fires with chimneys. Several elegant, mostly wooden sofas, tables, and chairs were arranged around. They settled into plush seats, as instructed by Rakhi, who sat down on a chair at the center. There were tea and coffee along with some snacks arranged in front of them, which Rakhi insisted they should try like an honored host. It's Dawood Iqbal, right? The man behind the Amritsar attack? Sharika blurted out as she started sipping her tea. You've captured him? Rakhi's smile widened. Now I see why Sheila chose a small kid like you. Yes, his rise was a mistake I made. I was wrong to think I could fight fire with fire. And the Satyajit Foundation? Sharika pressed. That's you too? We have several divisions to fight several injustices, he said. How do you get funding for all these operations? She pressed. Oh, we have several patrons who admire our work and our goodwill. In fact, it was one of our patrons who insisted I should come out of the shadows and tell my story to the world. He was trying to convince me for years. I finally decided that if I was going to present myself, I should first cut down the weed I had planted. We went to capture Dawood. You know, in Pakistan, terrorists like him have more control over its army than their prime minister. So it's a really messy business. One of his militant factions escaped our grasp when we crossed the border. They mistook us for the Indian army and took over the Golden Temple to create a hostage situation. Adam here had to retreat from the border to counter it. It took us another month to finally capture Dawood. So you were one of the Sikh men? Riaz asked Adam directly. Yes, and the chief chemist who designed the composition of that explosive you saw, he replied simply, smiling. They were flabbergasted. Then Rakhi spoke. Miss Sharika, please introduce me to your Sheila madam. I hope she can join us by tomorrow. I will tell her my story then. I don't wish to go through it all more than once. We can arrange it like an interview. Adam handed Sharika's phone back to her. Don't do anything foolish, Rakhi added, his smile never wavering. Don't make me rethink my assessment of your intelligence. As the call connected, ma'am, we are at the location my friend gave, she began, as she was sure someone as experienced as Sheila could guess the cover story by reading between her lines. Then she gave Sheila a brief, frantic report. He wants to talk to you, ma'am, she finished, handing the phone to the one-eyed man. They spoke for nearly 10 minutes, their tones calm and professional, like two old colleagues catching up. When he handed the phone back, he said, She will arrive by tomorrow morning. Until then, you are our guests. You can roam the valley, but I would advise against it. You are not accustomed to the cold. Adam will show you to our guest rooms, and your bags will be here in any moment, as they have been thoroughly searched. At that moment, an aide came and whispered something in Rakhi's ear. That's it then, Rakhi said, standing. I have matters to attend to. You are free to be here, but you are not to communicate with the outside world without my permission. I trust I can rely on you. With that, he walked off. So, fancy a drink, Riaz, since we are friends again? Adam asked. Riaz hesitated, then looked at Sharika. No, I don't want a drink now. I want to talk to Sheila, ma'am. She may want me to prepare questions for tomorrow. You go on, she replied with a forced smile. Riaz hesitated again. He didn't want to leave Sharika alone. Come on, she will be all right here. No need to worry. She can reach us with her phone anytime. No jammers here. Adam chuckled. With a nod, Riaz slowly walked out with Adam. Sharika's head was bursting. When Rakhi mentioned the patron, she was sure it was Deep Enterprises. Sachin? Or Sukanya? Then it struck her. He had to be a part of the owner of it all, and that would have been the piece of information which Sheila hid from her. She felt her hand shake as she dialed Sheila again. Kid, I am so proud of you. Sheila's voice was electric with joy. You've uncovered a truth buried for decades. It was a huge risk, I understand. I'll be there tomorrow morning. I'm so glad you both are okay. Sharika had never heard her so happy, but she needed answers. Ma'am, Sachin is part owner of Deep Enterprises, isn't he? Not an operative, but the man behind it all. And you knew it, didn't you? The joy in Sheila's voice vanished, replaced by cold frustration. Are you mad, child? What is it with you? You've just unmasked the biggest cover-up in the country. You found the black tiger, and instead of working on it, you are still pursuing this madness? No, Sachin is not part owner of it. He is the sole proprietor of Deep Enterprises. He wishes to remain anonymous. I learned this last year. I was there when they were meeting with the Prime Minister for their expansion. Although I wasn't able to meet him, only Sukanya was present for the meeting. She said he had to fly to Kerala for some personal emergency. Now I think it was because Deepa K. Sharma was met with an accident. They must have been close. Sheila was talking fast, getting agitated by every word. So, that's what you said. You think there's something you had overlooked? So why all this secrecy? Sharika asked, her voice quivering. Yes, so what? Sheila asked. If he doesn't want to advertise it, why do you care? But ma'am, how can he? Sharika stammered. What? Sheila snapped. It's not unheard of. There are several billion-dollar organizations like this in the world in which no one knew who was behind them. Airbnb, Bitcoin are some examples. Some people prefer to operate out of the public eye. Why are you acting like you have a personal vengeance against the man who saved your life? Are you going truly insane, child? Sheila took a deep breath. I know you are exceptional at framing interview questions. Can you please prepare some for tomorrow? And please, Sharika, drop this madness about Sachin. Sheila hung up. Sharika felt as if she had been slapped 10 times over. She sat alone, and to her own surprise, she began to cry. She didn't know why she felt so sad, so lost. She had no way to pursue Sachin's secrets anymore. Then a thought struck her, a final simple puzzle piece clicking into place. She didn't know if it was because of realizing Rakhi's truth or hearing that name again. Deepa K. Sharma, Deep Enterprises, DEEPA. He had named his entire empire after this woman. He must have loved her, a woman who was not his. It had been there in plain sight all along. Then, just like that, she felt another piece of the puzzle click into place. Kailash Satyajit's words from that interview, that carefully rehearsed tone when he mentioned the CEO Sukanya. Yes, he had frowned because she was just the CEO, a pawn. Perhaps someone who managed the daily operations, the public face of the organization. But the real mastermind behind all those elegant ideas, all those strategic expansions, was hiding in the shadows. He was taking all the risks upon himself. And that was probably why they had never sought any external investments. Sukanya was only the operative who ran everything. The entire empire belonged to Sachin. Why was I so blind? She asked herself. Then everything seemed to fit together. He was behind the Satyajit Foundation through Rakhi. He was funding every rescue operation. He must have been getting money to fund it all by stealing antique artifacts. So what? If he is using that money to help millions, why does it matter if he is a thief? A voice whispered in her head. He must have borne so much pain keeping it all to himself. He is a modern version of Robin Hood. Then who attacked Deepa? Must be someone from the bureaucrats who didn't want Rakhi's story to come out. There is definitely more to Rakhi's story, which had great implications for national politics. Sachin must have rushed to her aid, must have used help from Rakhi for Fort Kochi, but why? She didn't know. She had started arguing with herself. Then Pakistan? Sachin must have been going for that idol deal, and Rakhi's men helped him cross the border while they also had to cross it to get Dawood Iqbal. Then what's at Lapchala in Tibet? No idea. Must be another ancient artifact deal or something. Then their archaeological park in Delhi? What are they building there? Probably a stronghold or business expansion or both. So he wasn't just a thief preserving history from religious decay. He was a man helping millions with that money. So where is he now? Why is he doing all this? Are these conclusions really true? Then she felt another tear dropping from her eyes, and images started appearing in her memory. Millions of orphan children who otherwise would have been begging in the streets, now enjoying a chance at life in a derrick school. Millions of old age people who once had no purpose, now living happily in derrick campuses. Millions of talented children who otherwise would have wasted their lives, now achieving success thanks to WIG campuses. Thousands of college students and employees who earn a livelihood from their institutions. Millions of farmers who otherwise would have starved or committed suicide, as they had decades ago when there was no proper way to preserve crops. Thousands of girls who got saved from misery with the Satyajit Foundation, which ran on his funding. Then Rakhi's operations, which God only knows how many wars and terrorist attacks he would have prevented. Millions of lives saved because of this one business empire, this one man. She felt like she was losing her sanity. She took out her phone and typed Sachin. His number appeared in her contact list. As she stared at it, lost in the void, she sat there feeling a complete and utter emptiness consume her. She didn't know how to continue Project Umbra. She also didn't know what's the point of unveiling Sachin's truths. She wanted to work, to prepare the questions, but she couldn't focus. She wanted to call Anuj and Farhana, but she couldn't. She just stared at that name, Sachin. At that moment, something swished past her right ear. End of chapter 30.
Thank you for watching Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest. Subscribe to stay updated on Sharika's journey. Stay tuned for the next part.
Disclaimer. Unraveling the Truth, A Journalist's Quest is a work of fiction. The experiences, ideas, and theories presented by the characters, including the books they write, are purely fictional and do not reflect real-world events, beliefs, or ideologies. While some incidents and characters may be inspired by real-world scenarios, they are entirely fictionalized for storytelling purposes. The author does not endorse or share the viewpoints expressed by any character in this novel. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or real events is purely coincidental. Viewer discretion is advised.